These are indicators of how successful they predict students will be if they achieve these scores on their ACT test in various areas. I have those listed there. Basically what it's saying is if a student achieves like the English benchmark score, they have a 50% chance of obtaining a B or higher, or a 75% chance of obtaining a C or higher in college level English. Same thing with the math, reading, and science benchmark scores. The percentages don't change, just the numbers that the actual benchmark score changes. Down below that, average ACT scores, those are for 2007 graduates. Nationwide and in Iowa, their average scores for English, math, reading, science, and their composite scores. The percentage is how many students took the test. For the 2007 graduates, nationally it was 42%, in Iowa it was 66% of the graduates. On the back of that student sheet, I listed our 2008 graduates. I didn't do 2007, so I'm not actually comparing apples to apples here. I didn't have access to tax data last year, but so I did our 2008 graduates, and these are all of these students that just graduated this year that took the ACT test. May not have taken it this year. In fact, most of them didn't, but have taken it sometime during high school. I listed all of their scores out here, and then did an average. You can see our averages are right at or slightly above the Iowa averages and well above the national averages for our graduates. Questions on that sheet of paper there? Each line represents one student across. And we had 60% of our high school seniors, our graduates this year, take the test. Okay, moving on. The next sheet at the top, scores and averages of all ACT tests. There was an error in the 10th grade that actually increased. The science average is actually should be a 23, and the 10th grade composite should be a 23.17. There was an error. Student F should have a science of 31 and a composite of 31. Made me nervous when I became aware of the error, so I checked, and everyone else seems to be okay, because I got off the line when I was inputting the data. That also increased our ESAC County average on the back side for the science to 22.4, and our average to 22.2. This sheet here, the all ACT tests, this lists every ACT test that was taken by our students from June of last year through April of this year. Some students may have taken the test more than once. All of their test scores are listed on here. So this is an average of every ACT test that was taken for our students. It gives by grade, 10th grade is first, then the 11th grade, and then the 12th grade. And then an overall average of everyone. And then the last ACT sheet, students' best composite, students that took the test more than once, I pulled out their lowest score. So this is just if they took the test more than once, their best score and what the averages are, just based on their best scores. And again, the 10th grade averages is wrong, but that doesn't change. It's the same as the all ACTs, because all the 10th graders only took it once. That took it.
Is there a different test for 12th grade, 11th grade?
No, it's all the same test. They can actually start taking it, I don't remember the age. I want to say 13, so they could even take it in middle school if they wanted to. It's the same test.
I think they can start in 7th grade.
Yeah, it's at 13. Yeah, that would be 13, 7th grade. And there are some tag students in middle school that do take the ACT test.
I'm counting the number here, and I'm sort of getting a feeling that we got about 50% of the grade. Am I correct in saying that?
For which grade are you looking
Well,
at?
I just took the 10th grade. Am I right in saying it's typical around 50% that take the test?
For our graduates, on the back of that first sheet, that listed all of our graduates, and that was 60%
Okay.
of our grade.
But it would vary from year to year, obviously.
Yes, yes.
What do ACTs cost now? Roughly
$25. I don't know. And it's another fee if you write.
Yeah.
It's 25 and 35. Yeah, I know.
Actually, it's a little more
$14
than
if you have to
that,
pay a late fee.
Huh?
It's $14 if you have to pay a late fee.
If you don't register by the deadline, there's another $14. Yeah, it's like actually 28 or something like that.
$28.
Yeah, just keep changing.
We have very few students that ever take their writing piece. There's a writing piece to the ACT test now where you can have your writing analyzed by someone. There are very few colleges that require that should be taken to get into the college, so very few of our students take it, so I didn't include that data here.
I think I got out of a class in Iowa State. Is that true? Is that?
Could very well, yes.
Really?
Good job.
So just to use these things now, taking it out of your mind, to get into Iowa State, you'd have to have an ACT score of, gotcha?
That brings me to the next sheet of paper in that packet. They have changed the admission requirements. All of the three recent universities, University of Iowa, University of Northern Iowa, and Iowa State University, this is just an Iowa Regent University thing, have went to this Regent Admission Score, the RAI, and that's just a formula calculated. It's listed there on that sheet of paper. It lets students know in black and white whether or not they'll be admitted to any of those universities. You punch in those numbers, and if you get a score of, I believe it's 245 or greater, you're pretty much guaranteed admission to any three of those universities. So you don't have to have a minimum ACT score anymore. But you do still have to have the core classes, the 4 years of English, 4 years of math. The same core classes still apply, but you don't have, it's not a certain ACT score anymore.
So just having a high ACT score doesn't rule this out. You have to have an RAI to get in the schools.
Yes.
But to go to Buena Vista or Cornell, the ball game is the same, or is it similar?
No, it's different. The RAI thing is just for those three major universities. It's different from college to college, actually, there.
Okay.
And this goes into effect
This fall already.
this fall,
We'll be with our 09 graduates.
our 09.
Yes.
Okay.
Not with this year's graduates, the 09 graduates. And this information was in the newsletter, and I sent it home with all of the 9th through 11th grade report cards with the third quarter grades also. Any other questions?
Has everybody ever taken this, to do their personal input and not for publication, to go down and take a look at the student's grade in comparison to the ACT scores?
Have we ever done that?
Have you ever done that? You personally, or just to see and wonder how
Yes.
you've done that? Okay, I can understand, I would be interested in that.
Yes,
But
I mean, students will get, like a 20 on their ACT and they're like a B average student. I'm thinking, whoa.
Yeah, yes.
Yes, we do have some of those, definitely.
I'm not trying to take away from Jim, but anybody have any more questions for Jim?
Well, it's an interesting subject, and I would love to talk more about it, but we'll talk later.
All right. Superintendent's report.
Thank you.
Yep.
The packet of a few staple sheets is the superintendent's evaluation, your favorite spring activity. If you remember in our joint board meetings, the possible board and superintendent leadership behaviors that we've established at this point in the joint board meetings has been to provide leadership for clear learning goals that drive the district to high achievement, provide leadership for an informed and involved community, and provide leadership for effective, continually improving instruction. And those three should sound familiar. If you turn to the next page, annually you must do a superintendent's evaluation. Last year, both districts did a rather long, multi-page evaluation, and then at the end of it, you had, if you recollect, these three questions. Thinks the superintendent's doing well, the superintendent should do more of the following, the superintendent should do less of the following. So I can let you have this electronically, you can handwrite in here, but on Monday the 2nd of June, 2 weeks from tonight, 2 weeks from today, I'd like to have you have this turned in to Jennifer if you could. And if she doesn't hear from you, she'll bug you about it. Danita's going to get hers collected 1 week prior to Jennifer's, and it's the same three questions. And those two secretaries then will compile them. Okay, so you need some help with what the superintendent's supposed to be doing. On the next page, front to back, are the standards. And if you look at the standards, right up here at the top of each section, they're long and cumbersome, but in parentheses, standard 1 is shared vision.